Hi folks, just wanted to give you a heads up. If you're watching the video version of this, about 17, 18 minutes in, we started having some video problems. My computer started breaking and stopped recording the video very well. It was getting super framey, eventually to the point of just full frozen. And we didn't notice for about 12, 13 minutes or so. Part of that was that our video gets cut off partway through. During what I think is an incredibly important conversation throughout this. At that point, I just want to remind y'all that where we stand on a couple things before you jump into it. Trans rights are human rights, and we are fully a safe space for anyone queer. That is kind of one of those big things for me that is super, super important about this show. Mitch is in full agreement on that. That is who we are. That's something we want to make sure we're always conveying. I'm sorry that this broke down in the way it did. That is entirely my fault. I should be checking my video settings more before we start recording these things, but I wanted to get that out of the way. Audio folks, you should be okay. I haven't scrubbed through all of the audio yet, but it looks like things are fine. I am adding this into the episode just to be safe. I truly don't know everything that broke, but I am working on fixing it and should have this fixed for subsequent episodes. With that said, thank you very much for tuning in, and please enjoy the episode. Hi, hello everybody, and welcome to Kingdom Compass TV, the show where we talk about shows episode by episode, week by week for our enjoyment and yours. Mitch, we've really got to change the intro to this show, because we have not been good about doing week by week in a while.
Look, I tried. Life's hard. We ran into Percy Jackson. So now it's just YOLO, throw it all at the fence.
Percy Jackson and other shows that we kind of want to talk about. It's the timing of things.
There was nothing else I was really watching weekly on Disney Plus, unless we're going to start talking about non-Disney Plus.
We're going to start talking about non-Disney Plus. But to know what we're going to talk about, you got to stick around till the end of the episode. That's right. We're doing one of those.
Are we, though?
Yes.
Yeah, we probably are.
Yes. I'm going to hold myself back, even though I'm very excited to get to that, to talk about something I'm also very excited to talk about, and that is Win or Lose. This is our episode. We were doing episode by episode. We were being really good about it, and then we missed a bunch of weeks, and now Percy Jackson comes out like next week, and we got to get this out. So we're talking about episodes 4 through 8.
Yes, we are.
We're not even doing like the back half of the season. It's 4 through 8.
Oh.
We got through 3 weeks.
We'll be better. We'll be better when we're doing it when it comes out weekly. I honestly do think that that's probably going to be what we'll want to focus on, just because I feel like the weekly nature of some, or whatever the drop is. So let's say the first 3 episodes of a show drop, doing that drop on a week is probably the way to do it. Like if we were talking about one of the things I'm going to talk about and what I've been watching, that's going to drop in 3 parts between now and the end of the year, we'd probably talk about, release 1, release 2, release 3.
Yeah, we're still figuring out how best to do the show, whether to do that for some shows, to just do full seasons for other shows. Release schedules for streaming.
I still want to go back to Alien Earth, but that's probably going to be a 1 episode thing.
Yeah, that's probably a oneer. TV shows in general are kind of weird to talk about sometimes. So we're going to try to do episode by episode in most cases. Even in cases of like Percy Jackson, there's going to be episodes coming out over Christmas time, which means that we will be away. And so it's just kind of a matter of figuring things out.
We'll take a bit of a siesta, but we'll probably come back and just say, okay, this week we're going to talk about everything we've missed.
Don't even get me started on the Kingdom Compass podcast and scheduling that thing out, because that thing is a nightmare, I'll tell you what.
Look, we're trying, all right?
I have things we'll talk about later.
Yeah, you will.
Let me hit y'all with the rigmarole. Of course, this is the Kingdom Compass TV show, where we talk about streaming shows specifically, whether that be Disney or other, coming soon. Of course, if you enjoy us on podcast services, hey, guess what? We got a YouTube, Kingdom Compass. Check us out over there, youtube.com/@Kingdom Compass Pod, where you can check out video versions of the podcast as well as shorts from the parks. A bunch of stuff coming soon. A new new handful of shorts starting soon as well, potentially out by the time this comes out. Checking out some of the Christmas decorations and whatnot in the parks. Very fun, very cute. I'm having a ball. And then I love just sending really, really, really stupid jokes to Mitch.
Can confirm.
I hit him with
Very
one today
stupid.
that I am so proud of.
That should be a short.
It will be. I have it. I have it ready. I just already
Good.
put a video out today. um, of course, if you like us there, of course we're on podcast services everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like, give us a comment, give us a rating. Please let us know.
Give us
what
the
you want.
love. We love the love.
And of course,
We
let
love
us
love.
know what you want us to talk about. Obviously, we're talking about Disney things, but we'll talk about non-Disney things. We'll talk about random things. And as long as we're into it, we'll probably talk about it. Or we'll
Not
derail
going to
this.
talk about why we delayed this recording. That's for sure.
No, I feel like that's another podcast kind of conversation.
No, that is not a that is an off podcast conversation.
Fair enough.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, we're going to get around to things and whatnot. Anyways, that's all that garbage. Let's talk about the actual details, nuts and bolts. Win or lose. We're talking about it. We got 5 episodes we're going to go over today. We're going to go episode by episode, kind of. They kind of all mesh because, as we've talked about, Win or Lose is 8-episode show. All of these episodes telling the same story from different angles and different focuses on different characters and what they're going through within this. I think it's like a week.
Yeah, the first game and then the championship is the following week. Yeah.
We're talking today about episode 4, Pickle, focusing on Vanessa, Rochelle's mom. We're talking about episode 5, Steel, talking about Taylor, one of the Pickles players' little brother. Yeah, little brother.
Little brother.
Number 6 is Mixed Signals, talking about Ewan, the pitcher. Number 7, I Got It, is talking about Kai, their star player. In episode 8, the finale, Home, is kind of about everyone, but mostly about the coach.
Coach Dan.
All in all, where I kind of want to start this is just talking about the show in general before we break this down. I'm kind of mad I missed this show, man.
I'm mad you missed it too, because if we'd done this week by week, a year and a half ago or whenever it was this dropped, I'm going to look for the date. It's February 19th, so I'm not a year and a half ago, but 9 months ago. We might have actually stuck to it because I did watch this weekly as it came out, and I had a blast the entire time. And every time you and I got together, I said, Griffin, you got to watch the show. You got to watch the show. And there was a very specific reason why you put it off. And I totally agree with why you put it off. And I'm very curious to get your thoughts on the resulting episode that was the central to your putting off of watching the show as we go through today.
We will get to Kai's episode and we will talk about that because I definitely have thoughts. But we got to talk about the episodes 4 through 6 first because they are great.
I know.
They are great episodes. And that is the thing about the show
are.
that I really like is there is not, other than my frustrations with the Kai episode and them having to be cowards and taking out the word trans from that episode. There are very few bad decisions in the making of this show. So much of this show is very tight, very clean, very good. And I think these 3 episodes are very much proof of that, especially Pickle.
I would agree. And it's one of those things where I feel like Pixar has gotten to a place where for a number of years, they stagnated a bit. People were a little apprehensive when a new Pixar production came out. There wasn't as much fanfare over some of their newer productions, Toy Story 4, even things that I absolutely adored, like Turning Red. And Lightyear, I enjoyed a lot, but they didn't do very well at the box office. I'm now back to that point where Pixar things happen and my ears perk up. Like, Hoppers is not something that was on my radar. I don't even know if I've watched more than that first teaser trailer. And now it's probably my most anticipated movie of 2026. Or one of my most anticipated movies of 2026, I should say.
I would agree with that on the anticipation front. I think Hoppers was incredibly exciting to me from the beginning just because it's beavers.
I mean, yeah, that
I'm a
also,
weird human being.
It speaks to the Canadian in me. It's fine.
Yeah, it speaks to the Oregonian in me.
That's Canada, Jason. I'll allow it.
Look, our state animal is a beaver.
Our national animal is a beaver.
It's not a moose. I would thought it would be a
No,
moose.
it's the beaver.
I'm
Did you
sorry.
not know this?
I got one joke, man. I got one joke. Let me have
Dude,
this.
dude,
Let
like,
me
come
have this,
on.
Mitch. Um,
You know what our national sport is?
I would presume curling. I just love upsetting you sometimes. It makes me. I would assume hockey.
You would assume you would assume 50% correct. We actually have two national sports.
So hockey and
One is
curling.
hockey, the other is lacrosse.
Curling still sounds more accurate. Anyways,
I
um,
unironically, we got the Winter Olympics are coming up, right? That's
dude,
this
I
year.
genuinely love watching curling during the Winter Olympics. It's the
Curl
best.
like curling is one of those things that's just on all the time in Canada in the winter. Like it's no word of a lie. Like you
So
turn on
that is where this bit is
TSN.
coming from. For what it's worth, it's one of the things where like I've spent winters in Canada, and like for
It's
some reason
everywhere.
like every bar I go to, every place I'm like going that has a
If
TV
there aren't
has
sports,
curling on it.
if there isn't a hockey game on, curling is on, and it is curling is to watch. Curling is also it's almost therapeutic in like the same way you would watch darts. Like there's just something oddly satisfying about it.
And the announcers for it too as well. They go like full golf of like
They get really into
getting
it.
down in soft, and it's like, oh, we're coming in for this, and it's the greatest thing in the world.
February
Folks, I
6th,
promise.
2026, Italy will be hosting the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. So I'm very excited for that. I'm definitely a winter. Are you a winter over summer Olympics kind of guy?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, it's just
For me,
between like
for me especially,
the
I love watch.
luge and the bobsled and
For me especially,
this, even like the
I love ski racing.
ski racing is a
So
lot of
it's like
fun.
for me
The
that is.
biathlon is a ton of fun.
There's some things in the Summer Olympics I really love. I love watching swimming.
Swimming is fun. Swimming
But
is
like
definitely
that's
fun.
kind of where my interest in the Summer Olympics ends. Is like that, and like when they do like volleyball, I enjoyed that.
The beach volleyball is always a lot of fun to watch. Yeah.
They get so into it. We're off topic already. Let's talk. Bringing this back.
Sorry.
Yeah, talking about Vanessa. Dude, I was not expecting to love her as much as I did after Rochelle's episode.
Again, and this is what I talked to you about on the last episode as well, of as the season progresses, people that are characters that you don't enjoy end up finding a way to become relatable, and you end up sympathizing with them in a great, and you create a meaningful connection with these characters. And Vanessa's episode is like the prime example of that, where I was so team Rochelle, and then I watch this and I understand like the social anxiety, the affirmations required through social media, that constant need for, attention and reciprocation and affection, and
Dude,
that
my
instant
entire
gratification of like comments
expectation
and
of
stuff. Like
this,
it's like, oh my god.
I was so expecting this for this to be a like, oh, here are the dangers of constantly being on social media, and it's like, no, social media is actually being incredibly helpful to this character. That is not the issue. The issue is this systemic nature of having to support this family in a situation where work isn't always paying off. It's like, oh, I actually really, really love this.
Yeah.
Because it does such a good job, and I think episodes 3 and 4 together, between Rochelle and Vanessa, and then also episodes 5 and 6 between Taylor and Ewan's stories, I think are these great kind of pairs together of showing both sides of a scenario. There we go, words. Finding all of this, and then like watching her like come to these realizations of what her kid is doing and figuring out, okay, what do we need to do here? Like really, I loved all of this. I love that she finds Rochelle and just first thing is like, okay, let's talk. What's up? And like being her mom, having those conversations, like it really feels like one of the best relationships to me in this entire show. And the fact that they were able to do that over largely just in episode 2, if you count 3. Pixar's like no other, man.
It's incredible. And like I said, there's just something in the DNA of Pixar that even the flops over time have become movies that I've come to really appreciate. Like you look at Elio, you look at, let me just go back. I had it open here. Luca is a film I absolutely adore. Elemental, honestly, great rom com, surprisingly, like out of nowhere. Really great
Oh yeah.
stuff. And I mean, again, I hate to look ahead, but looking at Hoppers, March 6th, only in theaters, like this cast, dude. Bobby Moynihan, John Hamm, Meryl Streep, Dave Franco, Kathy Najimy,
Well, as well
Egon
as the idea
Woldham.
of like Hopper seems to be like this very specific environmentalist story too.
Yeah.
And I think Pixar is at their best when they have something to say.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
and that's kind of the beauty of art, especially movies, is they're at their
Yeah.
best when they are saying something. And I think the issue that we've had, that people have had with a lot of Disney as of late, has been these movies are being made to make movies. They're not being made to tell something. I think that was my big issue with Lightyear. Is
Yeah.
Lightyear doesn't have a point. Um, Even looking at some of the more recent Disney stuff, like Wish, for example, which
Yeah.
I actually went
Wish did
back
not land.
recently and rewatched, and I might make a video on it because genuinely, like, I have feelings.
I don't get it.
Um, but like Wish feels like the point was pulled out of it, and it's
I
just
mean, and I do still worry to an extent for some of the future works from Pixar because we know while they're getting to do things like Win or Lose and Hoppers, there's also Toy Story 5, Incredibles 3, Coco 2. Like they are also becoming a bit of a sequel factory,
they've always
at
been
least
that
in
though.
terms of their in terms of their short-term plans, 3 of their next 5 planned films are sequels.
I mean,
And that is not the
yes,
case. Like
but
no,
also
but I mean you look
we also had
back.
Finding Dory, Cars 3, and then Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, then onward Soul Luca. So
Well, I was going to say, like, this is the gap between Toy Story 4 and Inside Out 2 is probably the longest gap between Pixar sequels, and that was 5 years.
yeah, Pixar also has always very much had a strategy of make two. Their goal has always been to make two. You see that Toy Story was that way, Monsters Inc. is that way, Finding Nemo, Incredible, Cars. I refuse to accept Cars 2 exists. Like a lot of these, the only ones that really don't are ones that either were too early for that, like A Bug's Life, or ones that just simply didn't do enough.
I'm
Brave,
honestly
as much
really
as I love
surprised we
it,
have not. I'm honestly surprised we haven't gotten a Ratatouille sequel yet.
so you think Ratatouille was before they started doing the sequel thing?
I do still
Ratatouille,
think that would
Wally,
be one
Up.
that I would love for them to revisit. And they did revisit Up with a Disney Plus series or Disney
I don't
Plus
count that.
shorts. So
By that, we've
probably
also
didn't
gotten.
need it, but it was nice to have.
Fair enough. But yeah, I really do love these. I want to kind of try to keep us on track though, because we have a lot to go through.
Sorry.
It's
You know how
not
my
your
brain works
fault.
sometimes.
It's both of us.
I'm also getting excited for March for reasons that will be explained later.
Probably in March when I put up videos. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Steel and Mixed Signals. Um, I love this kid. I love Taylor. This kid's adorable. I love his little toilet paper roll that through which he sees his plays with his imagination, and it's adorable and cute. And I love this kid.
It's such a great just visual again the way they visually separate each episode and each character having their own unique perspective. This kid's episode, I love the idea of his imagination coming through everything that he's doing because it is just the wonder of being a child, and as someone who has a young child myself, understanding like over time you want to allow that to flourish. You don't want to try and squash any of that. And it's one of those things. It's nice to see that visualized in such a way that it should become far more relatable, both for all of us having that inner child as well as parents wanting to make sure that we help that inner child flourish.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's kind of unique about this is like I love that the story here is largely about his relationship with his sister, and not his use of his imagination, because I think the use of his imagination is just the backing to what makes his view on things awesome. Thinking with your imagination in that way is something that's very unique to children. Kind of just as adults, we don't think that way. We just don't. And it is something that I'm not going to say that I do. It's something that I try to do as much as possible, but that's also because I work in such an industry that requires it.
Right.
That is an abnormal thing. So to see that just be a backing here, I thought was really fun. What I wasn't expecting for this was to be so much of the story to be a child falls in with the shitty under the bleachers
Wrong crowd.
kids that are trying to rip off a snack shack. I just
Yeah, it was surprising. Again, bit of a swerve, but I think it also does a great job in bringing together a lot of these plot points as we get towards the end of the series.
I do think that this episode also highlights two of my favorite bits in the show. The first to be the dude that is wearing this chicken costume does not have a face. He just has a chicken head. The only time I think he puts like a trash can over his head. The one time he doesn't have the head on, he has something else over his head though.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we never get that reveal because, chicken guy, he just needs to be chicken guy.
It's a
You know what I
great
mean?
bit. I was recently playing Dispatch, and they've got a character in that as well that they have the same bit. And I am convinced
Yeah.
that this bit is just put this thing in everything because genuinely it will be funny to me every single time.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in, anything that you want to be serious. Like, I wouldn't want to see, that bit show up in like Schindler's List, but otherwise, yeah, sure, go for it.
Well, yeah, because you don't put bits in Schindler's List.
You know what? Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And then the other bit here that I love that is a theme throughout the entire show is this kid that has like prescient,
The orange pop
omniscient. Yeah, every time he drinks orange soda. They have no explanation for this child. There is no reason for this kid to be anywhere, and he's everywhere.
But it's also like the janitor just showing up out of nowhere.
No, that janitor comes back with a passion in episode 8, and I loved it. That man sensed in the world that something was wrong exactly where he needed to be, and he just appeared out of nowhere, and I love it.
He is the ultimate wingman. We'll get there though.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, all of this was very cute, very fun. I really love this. I love that his sister comes in and saves him. I like that. I think it's episode 8 that we get the context of it from episode 6, but I'm gonna bring it in here.
Yeah.
I love that she left the game to go protect her little brother.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck yes, absolutely. That's what a big sister does. I wish we had gotten one of these through her perspective, though. I wish it feels a little weird to get it from her little brother and her boyfriend, and not her.
I don't. Yes, but I also don't know if there was like it might have been one of those ideas that it made sense in concept, like if it was a 9 or 10 episode show, but as they got to rounding out the story that they were trying to tell, like they realized the character really isn't. She's important to the plot, but not, the protagonist, right?
Fair. I wish at the very least they had done it a little bit more in episode 6, where they had split it and made it Ewan and Laurie's story.
Yeah, they could have jumped from one to the other.
It's more of a.
Bit,
it just feels.
I
don't have a critique of the actual story itself. I do think the story is still very well done. It's just more of a. Hey, this
you
feels
wanted
a little
more
weird.
with these characters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Ewan stuff, I love this episode too. The little cardboard heart and like little Ewan inside of it, showing that hey, guess what?
The whole idea. Yeah, like self-doubt, bravado, male, toxic masculinity type stuff. Like,
guess what? That
really
little boy
presented.
that won't shut up, that keeps acting out, is actually deeply insecure. Shocking, I know.
Who would have thunk it? This show is just a therapist's dream. Like, I can imagine this being ported of this is required viewing for Psych 101.
Yes, but also at the same time, I imagine therapists going, "Oh God, another Pixar."
Okay, the next one's Beavers. It's fine.
All of this, we don't know yet. That thing will wreck us emotionally somehow.
They always find a way.
I love little Ewan and all this. The moment that they show each other, they're like their little versions of themselves. It's very cute.
It is, and then Ewan kind of ruins it, but that's just, the idea of, being a kid. Kids make mistakes. There's mistakes made throughout this show. It's living with those consequences, learning to grow because of them. It's all just really good stuff.
Yeah, I really love this. All of this was very cute. I love as well like Lori's story in this though, like of trying to learn to become a catcher and whatnot. Like very fun. I love how that plays back then again into like Rochelle not being there, so she has to come into the big game. All awesome. Um, all right, let's do it. Let's talk episode 7.
All right, here's where we're going to talk for the next 2.5 hours. Got it.
All right, folks, let's get serious. Episode 7, I got it. It's talking about Kai. Man, this is the most trans story I've ever seen without saying the word. It still upsets me.
It would have been so easy. Like, it's all there. It's all there.
For what we got.
But you shouldn't.
I'm going to speak on two terms here versus of what we got and then also what we should have got.
Yeah.
For what we got, this is a very good episode. I honestly think that they changed very, very little from this episode actually saying the word trans to what the episode actually gave us. For reference, folks, because I know we're talking about this well after this series came out, there was a whole thing before this of far-right fuckheads getting really mad that there was going to be a trans character in a Pixar show, even though this is not the first time. And so Disney, being the absolute cowards that they are, told Pixar to take it out. And you can see here that this is being trans is very much at the core of Kai's story. Moving in with her grandma, playing softball instead of baseball. And like, for what we got, I think that's kind of just where I keep coming down on this episode. For what we got, you can see all of it. It feels really good. She finds a community that knows her as her. It makes her happy. And she just wants to feel it with that, but she has a dad who doesn't really fully understand her, and he wants things a certain way, and it's so clearly there. They just can't say
it's all there. Well, it's not only that, right? Like there were aspects of this episode that were cut around body dysmorphia and, identity crisis, and I think there are elements of the latter throughout. I think, Kai's father falling back into his old ways and trying to make everything seem like the way it was, even though it's very clearly different than what things were. Like there's so much done right. And while I don't agree with the dickhead fuckheads, I don't think this episode had to say the word trans to be a strong trans story. I do, however, think that there was more that could have been done in terms of trans representation in the episode. There were elements of it that were blink and you'll miss it, like Kai's socks being 2 colors of the trans flag, rainbow scrunchie.
I think the big thing for me was her hair. Her hair in the beginning of the episode, and also what they did with photos was very good. They have all these photos of her playing like baseball, and then she just like kind of throws it away and hides it. Like, for what we got, I agree. I don't think they needed to say it, and I think they actually did a very good job of keeping it in, and kind of getting it past those at Disney corporate level who were trying to get it out. It's just a shame that we even had to go through any of this to begin with.
Exactly, but the only reason why I say like we don't have to specifically say the word is, and again, I can't speak well to this being a 30-something white man, but how much of these stories are playing out every day where kids are open and honest and using these words in a positive light. And I do think that will and needs to change. But I do think in terms of a representation of what a community would, or how a community would react to things like this, I do think this was the way it would be done with most taste in most communities. And I do think that that's a fair representation of where we are as a society today. And I do hope that when stories like this are being told in a year's time, 2 years' time, 5, 10, by the time Owen is old enough to consume all of this content, that it isn't taboo for executives to use these terms, use these words, because it is part of our everyday vernacular and it is normalized in a way that I don't think Disney and Pixar, well, Pixar was certainly ready, or at least the creative team on this was certainly ready, but the team at Disney clearly was not.
Yeah, I
And
think
I
the
do hope that we're
issue.
getting to that point sometime soon where we are.
And we're back. I don't think my computer's going to blow up anymore. Hopefully.
Wonderful. Now I can get to the thing that I was
Now
trying
back
to
to this
get to.
incredibly
And
important conversation we were having. I'm sorry, folks.
no, that's okay. I had a thought that I wanted to make, and then it started to sound like Griffin was talking to me through a robot. So I figured I'd wait. What's interesting about Disney's approach to trans storytelling here, and I think again, there are no excuses for what was done. This should have been whatever story the creatives are trying to tell, let them tell their story. I think a large motivator there is how global Disney as a brand has become and will continue to be. I think very indicative to that is that this weekend, Zootopia 2 hit #1 in the box office and made somewhere around $400 million in China. Right? A lot of the world, like we talk a lot about US politics, far more so than I ever should as a Canadian, but it is important because you're our closest neighbor. You were our closest ally for a long time. And a lot of it does reflect back on us just with like an 18 to 24 month delay. The rest of the world is significantly, like there are pockets of this world that will murder you for being trans. It's less likely in the US. It's not impossible. And it should never, I shouldn't even have to say the words less likely in that scenario, but I digress. Other parts of the world are very, very much more anti-trans, and a trans message would have meant significant things for Disney's profits outside of just this show.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to the point that
I don't agree with the decision, but I do think that their globalist mentality also plays a factor.
Yeah, I think that comes back to my point that I want to remind people of like Disney's job is make money. Disney does not care about people. Disney will always do what is right for the bottom line. Whenever we finally get to talk about Owl House, this conversation will come up again.
Look, I watched one of your recommendations for a very LGBT friendly show of animation. It just wasn't that one.
Was it Vox Machina?
Yes, it was Vox Machina.
Okay, I was just making sure we were on the same page.
Yes, it was Vox Machina.
There's a few things I've recommended that a lot of the animated shows I've watched are LGBTQ plus,
which is good. I'm glad there's more of that storytelling. Also, there's no reason not to use the word "they" if you're not sure.
Guess what, folks? Animation industry, real gay, real gay.
Super gay.
Let me tell you all about Steven Universe. Oh, or She-Ra. Anyways, with where we're at right now, there are people telling these stories in these big companies and outside of them as well. And I think as a general rule, expect the ones coming from companies like Disney to either miss the mark or try to be incredibly subtle or sneak things by like this. I very much feel like a lot of this episode was snuck by.
Yeah.
If you're going to go somewhere more independent, something a la Knights of Guinevere, for instance, or Has Been Hotel, I think that's when you're going to get more overtness into what these things are and more honesty within that. Obviously, the world is regressing. The world is not where we want it to be, but that is a fight that we have to fight every day. But unfortunate as that statement is.
It is a fight worth fighting.
Now, I have no transition from this into episode 8.
Nope.
There is
Finale.
no good way to go
Yay.
into the finale after having this very serious conversation. But we're
Nope.
going to do it anyways.
Finale exists.
Because I want to talk about the finale because the finale is freaking dope. I love how all these stories come together.
I do, but I also feel like it's one of the weaker personal stories, I guess.
I do feel like this movie show should have been 9 episodes, and it should have been the story with Coach Dan, and then everything coming together. And
everything comes together. Yeah, I would agree there.
I do like Coach Dan's story though of his pride in this team and his pride specifically in doing all of this for his kid. And that dome that we literally see starting to shatter when all of these parents want Kai's dad to come be the coach.
Yeah.
Like I do think it does a really good job with that, and like him wanting to call out, talk back, but that's just not who he is. He really struggles with that, and it comes out as a whimper, and he just lets it get inside and inflates. Very similarly to how Laurie's anxiety builds up on her. Really loved those parallels. But then ultimately what I really love is, like I said, all of these things coming together, seeing everyone come together to help everything out, but also seeing everyone's like individual extra animation styles and whatnot coming in. We see the little anxiety sweat thing come up again. I love that it was blink and you miss it because it shows up and immediately Rochelle swats that thing away.
Yep.
By seeing Kai sunken into the ground, having little Ewan, like everything kind of coming together in this really beautiful way. And for me, it is the ending that makes it of like, who cares if they won or lost? Because it doesn't matter.
That's not the plot of the story, or that's not like that. That isn't the plot of the show.
Yeah, it's what got them to the game. And then I think the real thing that really made me like love this ending is Laurie at the very end of, I think I'm going to quit softball.
I mean, smart. Should probably make a better coach.
Like genuinely, I think this is just does such a good job of landing the plane of here's where everybody's stories need to end in a way that is satisfying. I do think I do really like the ending for Kai. I think this is very good. This is that part that I really think is that thing that they pulled from the original story for Kai that they kept, of ending it with "I see you, I accept you, I love you." And I really think they did a good job with that. Vanessa flirting with Frank was weird, but I kind of was here for it.
Weird, but I also got a feeling that Vanessa was the one that he was matched with on the dating app.
100%, yeah. It would just make sense.
It does, very much so.
Mm-hmm. All of this was great. This show in general is fantastic, and I think it is. I do think this is well worth the watch. Mitch, thank you for finally getting me to sit down and watch this show.
It took long enough. God damn.
But also, fuck you, Disney.
Fair.
And I stand by that. Until next
No,
time.
that's entirely. Again, we are Disney adults in every sense of the word. We were talking about it before we started recording that Disney is one of those things that takes us back to, carefree days. It's anxiety reducing. It allows us to disconnect from the world in a meaningful way. So I'm glad that you and I get to do this together. I'm glad that people, for some reason, listen to what we have to say while we do so, and we vamp on these things because we enjoy it so much. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between the art of Disney and the business of Disney. And I think that would actually make a really good long form episode, or a very good debate style episode of do a pro con list and break down, the pros and cons of Disney as art and Disney as business, or Disney as part of the economic engine of the United States and the global entertainment industry as a whole. Because I found it very off-putting when I went through my Instagram stories and Disney Plus was posting about Survivor Series, the WWE premium live event, because it's now streaming on ESPN Plus premium super sub, whatever the hell it's called. It was just kind of weird.
Yeah, like I'm going into the parks right now and seeing advertisements for the NFL. Like,
that's new.
Admittedly, that one makes a little more sense. They're doing one of those like toy broadcasts, but they're doing it with the Monsters Inc. characters. But even that still is like, okay.
Honestly, I feel like that's still better than the SpongeBob stuff they do, the Nickelodeon stuff. But
yeah, this one's interesting because I'll probably talk about this at some point on some episode after I watch it. But they're like fully replacing everybody with monsters. So the full broadcast.
Yeah, they did the same thing with the Nickelodeon thing, didn't they?
So they have the SpongeBob one. It's just a bunch of overlays on the actual.
Oh, okay.
So they'll slime the field and stuff. They did this with that one. They did a Toy Story one previously. It was kind of cute. It's interesting. It's unique. I still don't really understand the tech, and that's what I'm really trying to understand here. That's beside the point. We're getting off topic. That is win or lose. We did it. We got to the end. Somehow. Weird road to get here, but we did. If you are still sticking with us, thank you so much. Thank you for dealing with our video issues. Not our best video.
They stuck with us for the tease, Griffin, obviously.
The audio should still be good, hopefully. We'll
find out on the other side.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about what's next. What's next, Mitch, is Percy Jackson Season 2.
Correct.
But what's also next is that we are going to talk about
How are we going to do 2 weekly recordings a week?
We are not going to do them weekly.
Okay, we're just going to do it at the end of the season?
No. The plan here for Mighty 9 is to do 2 episodes. The front half of the season and the back half of the season.
8-episode season?
8-episode season. All first 4 episodes are already out. Get to watch it.
I guess I got to get to watching.
I know you've started. This is why I'm feel fully willing to just throw this at you.
Like halfway through episode 1. I'll see what I can squeeze into my brain tonight. But
we're going to be talking about both of these. We're going to try to do our best we can. As a reminder, folks, the holidays are coming up. So
the holidays are here.
Holidays are here. Christmas is coming up. That's the big one for us.
Christmas is starting now. They defrosted Mariah for another year.
Unfortunately.
I heard she makes something like $2.5 to $3.5 million a year in residuals just from that song alone.
Honestly, I respect the fuck out of it. Like
for like a month. Look, it's her and Buble just come out for the season.
Her, them, and Pentatonics. They all come out for Christmas and then go away.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to be doing both of these. Try to bear with us as we go into the holidays, though, and like we'll be gone around Christmas time and whatnot. So we'll figure things out. Of course, that's all future stuff, though. We will talk to y'all then. Of course, please let us know what you want us to talk about. Otherwise, in the comments, let us know what you think about win or lose. Again, thank you for bearing with our technical issues. And until next time, be good to each other and have, waiting for Mitch to end yawning, a magical day.
Play ball.